was developed at IDX. So I guess I start off with this presentation to entertain you guys here. I'm going to be presenting about IoT security in the IoT sector, and what IDX can offer, and what you as users need to be aware of in order to ensure security in the sector. Before I go on to what IDX offers, I'd like to just take you guys through a brief history on cyber attacks that has occurred in our industry in the past. We go to 2010, where we see STUXnet. I believe most people here have heard of this. It was a malware that infected Siemens PLC, managed to destroy some centrifuges of a plant, and managed to bring the plant down. We go to 2012 and we see Shamoon. Shamoon is a malware that infected a oil firm and managed to delete a lot of their files on their systems. This caused their systems to be inoperable. In 2014, we see Energetic Bear. Energetic Bear, unlike the previous two malwares, does not destroy or interrupt the plant production activities. What it does do, though, is it steals confidential information and sends it off to the attacker. What the attacker uses information for? Well, we don't know. We don't know even till this day. The attacker never mentioned his motive or the reason he did it. In 2015 and 2016, we see Black Energy and Industroyer respectively. Both of these malwares focus on the power industry, where they managed to shut down a circuit breaker of power supply to a city and cause a whole blackout in the city. In the case of Black Energy, a city was taken out for 6 hours, and in the case of Industroyer, it was taken out for 1 hour. Then we go to 2017, which is just last year, and we see TRITON. TRITON is a malware that managed to infect a Iconic safety system, which it managed to crash the system, and that in turn shut down the plant. So, as you can see throughout the history of cyber attacks, that these can be quite deadly and quite costly, and also affects us all. How can IDX help in this situation? Well, in order to explain this, I'd like to go through a practical example first. On the right-hand side here, we've got a typical plant layout, where our industrial network is connected to maybe a corporate internet network that connects to the internet. And this is separated by a firewall on this line. Now, let's assume that for whatever reason, malware either seeps in through the internet network and gets onto the industrial network, or someone from the inside compromises our system. And the malware then spreads throughout the entire network and compromises the whole thing. What can IDX do in this case? Let's assume that this is our critical system, and this is the system that we absolutely must not allow to be compromised or to fall off. What IDX can offer in this case then is we can offer a gateway that separates this network. We make two segments out of this, and we isolate this segment here. So that if a malware does seep through and compromises this left-hand side industrial network, it will only be limited to the left-hand side, and your gateway acts as a safeguard to your critical system. So that's one example that IDX offers in terms of security. Another example, another application that IDX can offer is, let's assume that in a plant we have our engineer here that's trying to configure or monitor one of his machineries. But in a lot of the plants, their firewall restrictions often than not blocks your access to remotely connect your device that you need to connect. Maybe some ports needs to be opened and you need to go through IT first, and you're saying no. So what IDX can offer here is we can offer a secure convenience for you guys. We can offer a netbiter that we can install on the machinery, and this in turn will create a safe, secure channel, a VPN channel, to allow you to connect to the internet. So this is all great and everything, but by us supplying this remote service, we also have a responsibility to uphold. When your data goes from your machinery to the cloud service for then you to access on the other end, we ensure that there is encryption throughout this whole data communication layer. That data is encrypted when it goes from your machinery to the cloud to then your personal computer, and from your personal computer to the cloud, and then to the machinery again. We also ensure that not anyone can log on to your machinery and see what's happening there. They would need to first log in through an authentication system, and that the password is always hashed and salted. Not even we know the password of what your login is. We also ensure that the password that you input is of a correct strength so that people can't brute force it. And if required, we can turn on the two-step verification process so that you get an SMS code before you can log into the system. Well, then you might ask now, well, if I go through all this process and secure my network segments and install a secure communication channel, am I safe now? Well, unfortunately, no, you are not safe. Why is this? Well, because besides us offering these security features, you as a user must also take security into consideration and be aware of what security dangers there are. Well, why do users need to be aware of these things? According to a report by S-Secure, which is an antivirus firm last year, they reported that out of all the attacks that they've detected, 52% of them came from social engineering. Social engineering is basically when an attacker tries to trick a user into performing an action where he or her is not aware of the consequences or hasn't the consequences of that action. And one of the biggest techniques that social engineering attackers leverage off of is something called phishing, where an attacker would carefully craft an email to send to you that has an attachment that tries to trick you into clicking that attachment or clicking that link. So the attachment could be an executable file, it could be a PowerPoint file, it could be a PDF file, anything. As long as the moment you double click on that file, your computer is infected, and chances are the network that you're connected to might also be infected. Or if you click on the link that they send you, the moment you go onto that website, the website might be malicious and might already have a virus on it. Or it might direct you to something that looks like Google but might not be Google, and you're thinking that you're entering your credentials for the correct channel, for the correct web page. So, as you can see, social engineering targets users at the end of the day, not the system itself. So users need to be aware and responsible of what they do. Users need to be aware and vigilant all the time when they're in front of their PCs or working on any electronic devices. They need to have a basic understanding of security policies and security basic practices, such as locking their computer screens when they leave the computer, or logging out of a session when they're done with doing whatever they need to configure, or having a strong password and not leaving their password lying in plain sight. And lastly but not least, also be aware that they should never be plugging any peripherals into any system that cannot be compromised. Yes, any peripherals, not just USB flash drives, like a lot of people believe. Even headphones can contain malware. So, from here, where does IoT cybersecurity go? Well, IoT devices are here to stay, and they will forever continue to increase in the amount of devices there are. And with that comes with an increased cyber risk. But we can analyze this risk. We know that a risk is the vulnerability, is the product of the vulnerability, the threat, and the consequence. And IDX and all our vendors are continuously working on this in order to reduce any of these parameters. But one thing is that no matter how much we try to reduce this, the general consensus is that the more security there is, the less the system is able to be used. The usability becomes less. Because you would now have a lot of obstacles that you would need to jump through in order to even use your system. So there needs to be a balance that needs to be found between what we supply and what users take responsibility of. And this requires the user's responsibility actions. So security comes in a two-way street. There's never one way. It's not just a one way from us suppliers to supply, but also a user needs to take careful consideration of what your code does, she does. So I'd like to end off today with a quote. There will never be a perfectly secure system. However, it can exist a secure system, but only if I take the initiative to make it happen. Because security is never a one-way street. Well, who said this? I just said it now. I just said it to all of you here. So hopefully this quote lives throughout the days to come, and will get you in the future. Thank you.